This book is called A Book of Song by Javarius Todd, and this is the Prelude and Chapter 1. Is everything that we experience a coincidence? I mean, it's the fact that coleslaw got thrown out on the exact day I planned on eating in the coincidence or a part of something more sinister. Once you hear the rest of this story, you'll understand my coleslaw plea. I've always been the one to believe that everything in the world is a part of a whole. And because of that whole being, you have some geniuses that feel that they have enough money and enough smarts to dissect it into pieces and partialize it to fit their small mindset and make it into whatever they want it to be. Truth be told, the more money you have or the more knowledge you have, the smaller your world becomes. In fact, I honestly believe if we were to live it up to the geniuses alone, then we probably would already be wiped off the face of this earth. My reasons for saying this is there is a saying that you hear from old people. You are so smart that you stupid. And that means that you can actually be too smart, so smart that you decide to go against all common sense and previous knowledge that you may have had. And this entire story in a nutshell, for all of those people who don't want to read the entire book, that will rather just skip to the last chapter and read the last sentence and then skip back to the first page and assume everything in the middle, that's exactly what happened in my story. So try not to get mesmerized by my overly exaggerated explanations for everything and my obsessive compulsive way of explaining the things that happened to me. And then by any chance, if you've gotten through the first 2 chapters of this book without falling asleep or tossing it in the trash and burning it, then I have accomplished one thing, and that is your attention. And if I learned anything from being diagnosed with ADHD and watching commercials, it's that attention has value. And if I can harness your attention, that is power. Chapter 1, Seasons, Fall, Thanksgiving, Wicked. It's Thanksgiving Day and I still can't get past the fact that I'm stuck in this room staring through a window at what appears to be another empty room. But today there is no room for complaints. The person in the next room could single-handedly be responsible for the fall of the corporation. And if he is who they really say he is, it could be the payout I've been waiting for my entire life. More often than not, my contacts are normally solid ones. I have yet to come across a situation where one has crossed me or I had to even feel like I was being crossed by one. But there is something about the day that's different. Something about the feel in the air, smell of the rain with no clouds. Even the weight of the gravity on my back seems heavier today. That causes me to be on top alert. Why? Because no hit before has ever made me feel this way. I mean, who exactly is this guy anyway? All I know is I get an envelope, a picture with a name, location, an unmarked phone, a few stacks of $100 bills, same as any other time, except normally the package is handed to me by a person and not just left in a random car. Everything from my previous training tell me that this is a setup, and I'm already in too deep to get out. So the logical thing to do is to pull this hit off and make sure to cover my ass and get out of there. I was sure to deactivate all cameras in the area before I came and cover my ass like I normally do so I know that I wasn't seen. Getting away without being seen? That's a different story. I was not the one who purchased the hotel ticket, but this room could be wired and they could be watching me as I sit. Because of this, I was sure not to unpack any bags and leave my hood on and mask as I looked through the window. I didn't even turn any lights on in the room, so as far as anybody else knows who's not connected to this, I'm not even in this room. This at least gives me a fighting chance to do what I gotta do. Once I get the target, I get out of here and I figure out who left the package in the car. Besides, there was only a few people in this town that could even pay my fee. I know they banking on me pulling this head and getting caught. That's why when I slide the way I do, they gonna know that I'm not the one to mess with. I'm coming full force. Other room. As Poe rummaged through his briefcase, hoping to find the package he had just gotten for Frank, he began to realize most of his things were missing, and he has none of his hard drives. What the fuck did that bitch put in my drink last night? My head spinning. I got this pulse in my brain. I can remember the last thing that happened. Shit, I can't even remember how the bitch looked. This shit can't be happening to me, man. I'm already running from these fuckers. Now I let this bitch take my paperwork? What the fuck is going on? I gotta get my shit together. I can't even call nobody right now. I can't remember any numbers and my phone dead. Fuck. I gotta get to the store and buy me a charger. Let me get up out of here, man. As Poe packed the rest of his things in his briefcase, he checked under the bed in the room to make sure that he had left nothing behind. He then put on his jacket, turned off the lights, stuck his head out the door to check the scene, and walked out the room. Wicked. As Wicked stared through the window, half awake and half asleep, he began to see the door crack open. Wicked sat up a little in his seat to make sure that he wasn't tripping. Just then, as he saw the head poke out, looking in both directions, he checked the picture, then placed it back in the envelope. It was definitely go time. He made sure he grabbed all his cigarette butts, grabbed his bag, put one in the head of his Glock, tucked it in his waistband, and pulled the straps on his backpack tighter, watching closely for when he could exit his room. As his mark reached the end of the hallway and started to turn left, Wicked exited the room. He made sure to walk at a medium pace to not get too close or to expose himself, but as not to get far enough to lose him. As soon as they were in the clear and nobody was on the street or around, Wicked would make his move, or so he thought. Poe. Poe paced himself as he started to feel the humidity and the thick hot muckness of the air. He began to regret all of the cognac that he had just drank the night before. Even worse, he had come up with a good story to explain this to his uncle, how he lost the paperwork in the first fucking place, and why he had just run out on them at the casino. As Poe tried to clear his head enough to process all of the information, he began to get queasy, and just at that moment, he bent over to throw up, barely missing his new pair of J's. Damn, whatever the fuck they gave me got me spinning, man. I'm fucked up. As Poe regained his balance and wiped off the rest of the throw up from his mouth, an all-black Suburban pulled up with black tint bitten like Holy Ghost by Young Jesus. The windows rolled slightly down and Poe got the urge to run, but once he realized he didn't even have the strength to get away, if he wanted to, he instantly just put his hands up. What the fuck y'all doing, man? Get in the car. It was one of Uncle Frank's henchmen. Poe started to feel a little relief that at least he had a ride, and now he didn't have to walk the remaining 5 blocks to his uncle's place. But he realized that he had less time to figure out what the fuck he was going to tell him when he got there. Jiggy, man, I fucked up big time. That's all Poe said as he shut the door. As Jiggy burned out the main road and he barely misses Wicked turning the corner with his Glock in hand. Wicked. What the fuck? This man throwing up? As Wicked watched Poe bending over to throw up, he removed his Glock from his waistband, got as close to the wall as he could, and he prepared to bend the corner. Just as he reached the edge of the wall, he saw an SUV pulling over. Wicked backed into the dark alley that was adjacent to the street and watched as the target entered the truck and sped away. Though he already had the money and knew nothing else, he also knew the rules of the game and understood that the mission had to be completed. Wicked was always thorough and careful to not leave loose ends. He removed his mask, smoothly walked from the alley, threw the burner phone, and walked down the sidewalk. Wicked waved for a taxi cab and directed him to the airport. Once at Hartsfield Jackson, Wicked purchased another prepaid phone and checked the time. Shit, I'm almost late for my flight. He then headed down the concourse to board his plane headed to Las Vegas. Once on the plane, Wicked waved to the stewardess. Hey, can I have 2 shots of whatever you have, Brown? Is Jack Daniels fine, she asked. Make it 4 then, he responded. He leaned his seat back. He thought to himself, next time I'm flying first class. Maybe I can get some Hennessy then.